It's Paul, and I plan to do a little experiment with this car and ramp to help me determine how much friction a surface has. From what I've learned in physics this year is that an object at rest will remain at rest unless an external force acts upon it, and that an object in motion will remain in motion unless an external force acts upon it. Now, I know gravity will act on the car as it goes down the ramp, but I'm not really concerned with that this time. What I want to see is how far the car will travel across the surface when I release it from the top of the ramp. And I plan to do this on a few different surfaces, and I'll be able to tell how much friction that surface has by how far the car goes, since the friction will act against the car and try to bring it to a stop. So my first surface is going to be this hardwood floor. So let's see how far it goes. Well, that wasn't really the best trial, but you can tell that it went very far and that the leg of the chair stopped the car. Alright, the chair leg interfered with my run. I'm going to do a second run on the hardwood. Now, I won't be doing a second run on all the others, but I just don't think that first one was very good. So let's try that again. Now, I'm kind of limited with the surface I have to work with, so I'm going to go ahead and take this one, and just based on how fast it was going, if that wall wasn't there, I think it would have kept going for another few feet. Well, I'm going to have this carpet floor. Alright, and let's see how far it goes. Well, judging from the distance of the ramp, it didn't go very far, so I can tell that this rug has a lot of frictional force. I'll be using this kitchen tile. Now, as we can see from the distance it traveled from the ramp, this tile does not have a lot of friction to it. It traveled quite a few feet. Side to this concrete walkway. Now, judging from how far it went from the ramp, I would say that this surface has much more friction than both the hardwood and the tile, but significantly less than the carpet. I moved outside to the asphalt streets. It did have a little bit of a curve, but I personally think it traveled much further on the asphalt than it did the concrete. Now, I know I didn't take the exact measurement that the car traveled from the ramp, but just from observation, the distance seemed very easy to observe, and from these trials I have come to the conclusion that the surface with the most frictional force was this carpet, while the surface with the least amount of frictional force would be the hardwood tile. Now, I know in the tile, or in the video I mean, that the car didn't get to travel the full distance, but I was limited with the amount of surface I had. But from this project, I would say from the most frictional to the least frictional surfaces, I would say it was the carpet, then the concrete sidewalk, the tiles from the kitchen, the asphalt roads, and then finally the least frictional was the hardwood tile. So that will be my physics project for this semester. And I will always remember that Newton's first law states, an object at rest will remain at rest unless an external force acts upon it, and that a object in motion will remain in motion unless an external force acts upon it. And in this case, that external force was friction.